We have a special guest right now. She's from the Heritage Foundation, and Victoria Coates. She was former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Trump. And Victoria, Merry Christmas.
Good morning, John. Merry Christmas.
And so many things are going on in the world, but you're the one that has your finger on what's going on. Where do you want to start this morning?
Well, I think I actually want to start in the Panama Canal, if that works for you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of drama going on.
That there is. I mean, President Trump has borrowed a page from President Reagan's book, which is always a good idea, in my opinion, and pointed out the fact that, we get charged disproportionate fees going through the Panama Canal. It's vital to our national security interests and our ability to move our goods out to the rest of the world and also to bring imports in. And finally, we have some really intolerable Chinese encroachment. The government of Panama has agreed to special economic zones for the PRC on sort of bordering the canal. That, I think, should give everybody great concern about China's ability to surveil shipping going through there, their ability to disrupt it.
Victoria, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Victoria, the Panama, so all our listeners, we might have a million listeners out there, all our listeners understand, the United States built the Panama Canal.
We did.
And in 1977, Jimmy Carter, President Carter, decided to give it back to Panama?
All correct. The Panama Canal is one of the wonders of the modern world. It's an extraordinary feat of engineering, connecting essentially the Caribbean with the Pacific Ocean. So it's how you avoid going all the way around South America.
And that costs a lot of money to go all the way around.
It costs a lot of money to go all the way around. It also costs a lot of money to build the canal. But like the Suez Canal between the Red Sea and the Mediterranean, it is a vitally important.
And that's closed too right now.
It's essentially closed because of the Houthi, Houthi terrorists.
And it's stupid because of the current administration. It's never been closed, and Ronald Reagan opened it up in 2 days or something. And now, Panama Canal, go back there. Did Panama make a deal with the Chinese?
Panama has a series of agreements with China for China to develop Panama, for China to invest in Panama. And if you look at sort of the southern border of the United States, you can see China encroaching in the Bahamas, where they have a gigantic embassy, in Cuba, where they're using some of the Russian assets, in Venezuela, here in Panama, all the way around to Lima, John, in Peru, on the Pacific. So it's almost like they've created this collar around the southern border of the United States, where China is becoming increasingly dominant. So I think that should be a major concern. I think that's what President-elect Trump is talking about.
The Chinese and the Iranians are very close, aren't they? How much oil does Iran sell to China?
Right now, it's up to 1.75 million barrels a day,
and that is a lot. So,
it is. It's more than quadruple.
Does China have something to do with? We know Iran has shut down the Suez Canal through the Houthis.
Oh, but the Houthis have said that they're not going to strike Chinese ships. I'm sure that's a coincidence.
That's a coincidence.
But no, I think this goes back to
why is President Biden going along with this? Why is the United States of America? What happened to our Navy? Why isn't anybody objecting?
They've been going along with it for 4 years. In March of 2021, China and Iran signed a formal agreement for $400 billion in Chinese investment in Iran over 25 years, and that's what they're executing right now. So China is essentially Iran's banker. They are banking things like the October 7th terrorist attack, the Houthi attack on commercial shipping.
So the free world goes broke, and the Chinese make a ton of money, along with the 100%. Iranians.
I think they think this situation is just fine.
Now, question. This is Curtis Sliwa. President Donald Trump has this fixation on Greenland. He actually floated the idea back when he was first president, maybe a swap with the Danes, Puerto Rico for Greenland, since they oversee Greenland. And now he has suggested again that he'd like to have the United States oversee Greenland. Why? What is the importance of Greenland?
I think it's great. I think it's very smart deal.
I was part of that in the first term, and the reason to be interested in Greenland is natural resources. It's basically a discrete portion of the Arctic. And so if you can control Greenland and the mining and the development of Greenland, you have a ready source of all sorts of critical minerals and rare earths that we need for modern technology. And
that's the business portion, Victoria, but it overlooks how many minutes away from Moscow is it, or how many minutes away from Beijing is it when you go over the North Pole?
Right. It's a very strategic location as well. And so it is the territory of Denmark. Curtis, as you pointed out, it is expensive and difficult for Denmark to oversee. So what President Trump has proposed, or, there are various mechanisms. I actually wouldn't swap out Puerto Rico. I think Puerto Rico, unless we can somehow get Cuba, is critical to us in the Caribbean. I think we're not using that well. We've got ports and airstrips there that have been mothballed that I think we could revitalize. But Greenland also very strategic. We could come up with something a little bit like what we did with the Saudis 50 years ago with Aramco, where the host country, the Danes, would retain 51%. We would have 49%. But obviously the right of first refusal on any of those materials I described coming out of Greenland.
I think it's. I think President Trump and Victoria, you are one smart lady. You should be next to President Trump helping him.
Well, the good thing about being at Heritage is we, have a history of supporting conservative presidents. It was not, quite frankly, a relationship we had in the first term. But President Trump speaks regularly with our president, Kevin Roberts. So we are very excited about being part of the team from Heritage, working with the Congress, particularly on this first 100-day push. We have a lot of muscle mass in that area. I think we can help a lot.
Victoria, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I look forward to talking to you. We talk often at the 5 o'clock hour. And thank you for keeping millions of listeners in the ABC area informed.
Well, Merry Christmas to all my WABC friends.
God bless you. And look forward to seeing you soon.
You too.